travelers to Malaysia. So the first time when we started, the numbers of medical travelers in Malaysia was just about around 600,000 plus. And then slowly the numbers increasing. Yeah? But unfortunately, when we were hit by the global pandemic COVID-19, the industry suffered very much. I believe that not just Malaysia suffered, but all other countries in the world also suffered. And for your information, this medical tourism industry contributed as the second, in total, the tourism industry contributed as the second largest GDP to Malaysia. This is a good source of income to our country. And in the last 2020, after the COVID, in order to bring back the health tourism industry into place, the Malaysian government has taken the initiative to introduce or to develop one blueprint. We have got one blueprint that governs the health tourism in Malaysia. So this blueprint is for 5 years, from 2000, I can't remember, but until 2025, we already have this blueprint. So this blueprint will help the Malaysia Tourism Council. We have one body, a private body, which is known as the Malaysia Tourism Health Council, to look into the medical tourism practices in Malaysia. So with this agency, this agency will focus into the promotion and also marketing of the health tourism in Malaysia. All right? And among reasons why Malaysian can become one of the preferable destination for the health tourism, number one is that because mostly the hospital are easily accessible. They are not very far from the Kuala Lumpur International Airport. So that means the number one is the strategic location. Alright, the most that they have to travel from the Kuala Lumpur International Airport to the hospital is like 1.5 hours to 2 hours in the normal traffic situation. So it is easily accessible. And secondly, we have got for example, like our National Heart Institute. So we are one of the best in the world for cardiology treatment. So we have got patients coming from all over the world to Malaysia to seek cardiology treatment with the price way lower from their country. So meaning that not just that we have the state-of-art facilities and also the best cardiologist consultant, but also the price is very competitive compared to their own country. For example, like Japan. We have patients coming from Japan, from Canada, from UK, from US that seek the cardiology treatment in Malaysia. Okay, and then Malaysia is also very popular for fertility services, for fertility treatment. This is another health industry that becoming very popular. So many people from outside come to Malaysia to seek for the fertility treatment, and the price of course is cheap compared to their own original country. Okay, and then of course for people from the Islamic countries that come to Malaysia for the medical tourism or health tourism, the main attraction to these people is that we have these halal medical services. Although that it is now that very popular, but we already have halal medical services at our hospitals for both government hospital as well as private hospital. Okay, for example, like in order to support the growth of the halal health tourism, we, the Malaysian government, of course, the task is given to one dedicated agency, we already developed the first standard. Yeah, I believe this is the first one in the world as well. Halal Medical Devices Act. Halal Medical Devices Standard. That is under the Department of Standard Malaysia. So now altogether in Malaysia so far up to date, as far as the halal industry is concerned, we have got 14 standards altogether. But of course, the one that very popular is the halal food standard, which has become the reference for many countries in the world. Yeah, and in order to promote and to boost the halal tourism industry in general, not just for the hospital, we also have produced and published the Muslim-friendly hospitality standards. We have the Muslim-friendly hospitality services general guidelines, which also can be used, for instance, like by the hotels, by the homestay, by the motels or any other tourism accommodation. And so far we have got about 50 to 60 hotels in Malaysia already being certified as a Muslim-friendly hotels. We have got that, and this standard you can actually you can have access on the website. If you just type Muslim-friendly hospitality standard Malaysia, then you can have access to this standard MS26, which me and the rest of my team members, because we have got the grant from the Malaysian government to do a research on the Muslim-friendly hospitality services. So one of the things that we already produced under this project was the Muslim-friendly hospitality services standard, which is very relevant to the tourism industry. Okay. Now, what I can see is that before we came to this conference today, we already spent about 6 days in Hunza Valley. All of us, about 19 of us, we were there in Hunza Valley. So we were very amazed with the beautiful view on the way to Hunza Valley. So it was the first time in my whole life going through the Karakoram highway. Although that we have to stop for several hours due to these landslides. So somewhere in the middle of the mountain, we have to stop there, waited, But all that came to my mind, and as I was talking to my Honorable Professor Datuk Nasir, we were talking. We said that actually Pakistan has a lot of hidden, gems, treasures that you can promote to the world, which can make the people living higher in the mountain to become a rich people. Although that they don't have enough land, but they have got all the nature resources. So it can be a good community-based tourism for these people. We were so excited to see hundreds of sheep, at 4:30 a.m. in the morning on our way back from Gilgit to Naran. When we went down the Karakoram highway, then suddenly we saw 2 shepherds with 1 donkey, I think, if I'm not mistaken, with a flock of sheep on the road. We don't know, somewhere in the middle of the mountain, we can see sheep. We were so excited, we stopped and we took pictures. Because we cannot get this scenery in Malaysia. We cannot get this so beautiful scenery in Malaysia. We were so excited. So, and after visiting so many places even we went to the Hopper Valley. Hopper Valley, we took, although some of us, we suffered from a knee and joint problem, but somehow we got the strength, to go up to this place and to see what is there hidden on top of the mountain. But I did not go far because I got this problem, so I just stopped somewhere in the middle. But I think someone went very up on the hill and took a very nice picture. So there's a lot of treasures actually. So meaning that what I am trying to say is that when we talk about tourism, there's a lot, not just the health tourism. You can have the gastronomy tourism with varieties of food in Pakistan. You know, you can promote your gastronomy tourism. There can be healing tourism because you have got all this natural beauty. To some people, they just want to come and enjoy, and then to get the healing process, the inner healing process. So they can just come and enjoy the beauty of the places, the unique culture of the people. Right? Now, what is lacking? Yeah, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is lacking is that what I want to say is that how to make things work better. What are the things that should be integrated into the industry? Yeah. For example, like in Malaysia, we don't started. We did not started the tourism as halal tourism, but over times, we believe that if we want to get more Muslim people to come to our country, then we should have some elements that accommodates to the right of the Muslim tourists. Alright? Now, for example, during our stay in Hunza Valley, we check into several hotels. Some hotels, we find it easy for us to pray because they have the Qibla signage. You know the Qibla signage that pasted on the ceiling? So we know where to stand and where to face, while performing our prayer. Because when you talk about tourism, you don't have to have the law need to be Sharia or Islamic law, but the practices, the best practices, what should be embedded or integrated into the practices. So by providing the Qibla pointing signage is the first thing. Because for Malaysian people, whenever they travel to anywhere in the world, the two things that we want to be in our list is the hotel provided with with the Qibla pointing signage. If yes, then we are happy to check in that hotel. Now, is it easy to get the halal food or not? But of course, Pakistan halal food is not a problem. But what if you travel to a non-Islamic country? So the second one is the availability of the halal food. So meaning that the tour guide must be aware of the needs of their tourists. They must bring the tourists to a place or to hotel that is Muslim friendly. So meaning that another thing that is very much concerned to Malaysian tourists is that the hand shower or the hand bidet. Because, after you using the toilet, you need water to clean yourself, isn't it? We don't use tissue. But most of the hotel that we went, they have the hand shower, hand bidet. So this is what we meant by the integration of the best Islamic practices into the tourism industry. Something that can be done without worrying about amending the law. Yeah, just that we need to create the awareness amongst the service provider. So I think if I don't stop now, I don't think so I will stop because I think I have so much to say actually. I have so much to share because when it comes to tourism, I am very, very excited to talk about tourism and also the halal tourism. But because of the time constraint, with due respect to the rest of presenters, I think I end my sharing session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Noria. She was sharing her practices and thoughts about halal tourism, and she was advising us to how we can improve our tourism in Pakistan. Now, I would like to request to the panelists, and the first presenter in this session is Professor Dr. Aziza bint Mohammed, and She is a professor in 𝐒𝐚𝐫𝐦𝐻 of Law, International Islamic University, Malaysia. So my request is to the all panelists to complete their talk within 5 minutes. Professor Dr. Aziza bin Muhammad.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, thank you to the organizers and organizing committees, and also my student, Brother Bilal, especially through our traveling all along the way from Malaysia. Alhamdulillah. Barakallahu fikum. Okay, my topic of presentation today is on challenges and innovations in harmonizing Sharia and modern family law, Malaysia experience. So I'll be sharing Malaysia's experience on certain challenges and innovations since, of course, Malaysia is practicing dual legal system. So this was mentioned by our previous speaker this morning actually. And for my paper, I'll be dividing it into 3 aspects. The first one is the challenges, i.e. challenges in the harmonizing Sharia and family law, particularly in Malaysia. Second is on innovations on certain aspects that may open for harmonizations, and finally also on several aspects in which there is possibility in harmonization. Actually, I better go to the third one first actually, because in Malaysia, as I mentioned just now, we have practicing dual legal system. So we are consisting Muslims and non-Muslims. So we have laws that are applicable to Muslims. We have also laws that are applicable to non-Muslims. And we have also federal laws that are applicable to both Muslim and non-Muslims. So basically, it's very obvious, I think, whenever we have certain laws, particularly the law that is applicable to both Muslims and non-Muslims, it does not contravene Islamic principles unless on certain aspects. For example, we have like in the case of polygamous marriage, because it contravenes Islamic principle. For the civil law, we have practicing polygamous marriage in Malaysia. For the non-Muslims, is an offence. But for the Muslims, of course, we have restricted polygamous marriage in Malaysia. And then for certain aspects in which we have a possibility of harmonization, for example, we have the act, there is federal law, which is applicable to both Muslims and non-Muslims as regards to adoption. So adoption in its real context is tabani in Islam, it is prohibited actually. However, it was made possible in Malaysia with the enactment of Registration of Adoptions Act, in which adoption in this sense is not a real adoption, but it's a de facto adoption, in which the adoptive parents may adopt a child, but just in terms of taking care of the child only, i.e. to provide certain benefits for the child in the adoptive family, but it does not give any status in terms of blood relationship, or cannot describe the name of the adoptive children to the adoptive family or father, actually, can be ascribed to the father. So whenever a child is adopted under Registration of Adoptions Act 1952, then there will be a registration of adoption. So it is made legal in the sense that whenever there is adoption took place, there is no such ascription of paternity. However, the child will obtain certain benefits from the adoptive relationship. So this act is actually applicable to both Muslims and non-Muslims, and this also clearly portrays that there is harmonizations of laws in Malaysia, in which the principle in the Registrations of Adoptions Act 1952 does not contravene Islamic principle. Okay, so those are one of the examples for aspects of harmonization in our law. The challenges basically we have is on certain laws that contradict Islamic principles. So as mentioned by our justice this morning, this is one of the a big challenge to harmonizations of laws, especially whenever the civil law contradicts the Islamic principles. Okay, so we have several laws that contradict Islamic principles. Just now I mentioned one, which is polygamy. So polygamous marriage in Islam, of course, it is permissible, but under civil law it is prohibited. And then we have this also applicable to non-Muslim in Malaysia. And we have also other challenges, for example, in the case of adoption as well. We have one adoption act that is applicable to non-Muslim. So it is Adoption Act 1952. So this Adoption Act actually follows the English principle of adoption, in which whenever adoption took place, the adoptive child will render the status as if that they are in the family, one of the family members of the adoptive family. So the exclusion of penalty will take place in these circumstances. So the adopted child will gain the status from the adoptive father. So as regards to the principle of adoption in this case, of course, very clearly that this law cannot be harmonized in Malaysia, but we have at the same time Registration of Adoptions Act that actually open also the room for some of the non-Muslims who also wish to adopt a child without rendering any status of parentage or paternity to the adoptive child. Okay, and then in Malaysia we have also several areas or several aspects that open for harmonizations and may open for harmonization, in which we found that this law actually does not contradict Islamic principles. However, the Islamic principle already developed through ijtihad. Okay, for example, in the case of age of marriage. So in the case of age of marriage, previously in Malaysia, especially under Islamic law enactment, because just now I mentioned we have laws that are applicable to only the Muslims. So these laws relating to the personal law of the Muslims are governed by state laws. So for the age of marriage, we have, before this we have standardized age of marriage, which is 18 for the men and 16 for the women. I mean male and female child. Male is 18 and female child is 16. And even though we have this provision or general provision, but there is also exception in the case where if the person is under age of 16 or 18, they can still apply to contract a marriage if they have a good reason for it. For example, they involved with illicit relationship, or the couple might already have a relationship before marriage, etc. So the court may allow the marriage even though they are underage. However, under civil law, we have standardized provisions in which the age of marriage is 18 years old. However, a female child at the age of 16 may also apply for marriage so long as if there is a permission. Okay, so there is a little bit conflict among this law actually. Okay? However, due to what we call several protests, and then controversies on age of marriage, we have, I think everyone know, but this is very common, I think, nowadays, especially as regards to the age of marriage, since the age of marriage under the Convention on the Right of the Child is 18. A child is defined as 18 years old. So therefore, if they solemnize a marriage under the age of 18, meaning that they are still a child. So this it constitutes child marriage. Okay, so therefore, as regards to the controversial issue I mentioned just now, they were called to to upgrade or maximize the age of marriage to make standard with the civil law, i.e. 18 years old in Malaysia. And then after several conference, negotiations, etc., some of the states in Malaysia already increased the age of marriage up to 18. Means that now it is standard with the civil law, 18 for the male child, 16 for the female child. Okay, so in my opinion, because age of marriage under Islamic school of thought, under Islamic law, I mean is subject to discussions by the school of thought. The age of marriage, which is recommended, it's not compulsory, which is recommended, is whenever the child reaches the age of puberty. Okay, but if there is no natural symptoms appears in the child, And then the age of marriage will be 15 under Shafi'i schools of law, and we have also Hanafi schools of law, and some view that it is 16 and some view that it is 18 years old. So it is ijtihadi matters. So in my opinion, there is no problem in order to safeguard the interests of the people, especially to achieve the maqasid al-Sharia, the purpose of Islamic law, to safeguard the interests of everyone, that the government is to have this I call a legislation on age of marriage to standardize. So for me, this is an area which opens for harmonization. So this is one of the aspects, age of marriage. And of course, we have also another aspects. For example, we have one issue in Malaysia also regarding remedy in breach of betrothal agreement. So one of the remedy under civil law is that the parties who are not at fault, they can claim also remedy for humiliation, general damages for humiliation. Okay, so it is part of distress, emotional distress, and loss of reputation, whatsoever. Okay, but under Islamic law, we don't have that provision. And furthermore, when we look back at the discussion by the Muslim scholars, Muslim jurists, there is no I call a strict opinion regarding this matter. Okay, so therefore, in my opinion, also this is also an area that opens for discussion and harmonization, because it does not contradict Islamic principle. Okay, so those are several areas that may open for harmonization. But one of the event, I can say event, and also significant significant amendment of the law in Malaysia that sparked harmonization of Islamic law is amendment of Section 51 of the Law Reform Marriage and Divorce Act. So we have the law that is applicable to non-Muslims for marriage and divorce is the Law Reform Marriage and Divorce Act, in which this law only governs the non-Muslim. So previously we had Section 51, the provision that states that whenever one of the grounds for divorce is that whenever the one of the spouse convert to Islam, the non-converting spouse may apply for a divorce. It will become a grounds for a divorce. Okay, and then this actually continues for several years because we cannot find a good solution. But in 2017, we got the solution and the law was amended, in which it was very commonly known as a one-court solution, in which whenever the Law Reform Act was amended, the converting spouse may also apply for a divorce under the civil court whenever there is conversion to Islam. So therefore, both will be entertained under civil court in this matter, even though actually in Malaysia the situation is that the Muslims are governed by the Sharia court. Okay, so these are actually several experience of Malaysians in the case of urbanizations. So in IUM, for example, we have started this effort on research on harmonizations of law since 2003, and Alhamdulillah, it continues until today. And we found that actually there are ways and also certain what we call ways and possibility of harmonization of Sharia and law. Yes, so that with that, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Faiza bin Mohammed. She was sharing some of the challenges with specific reference to Muslim family law, such as either we can determine the marriageable age, or there are some issues she was highlighting about adoption as well. So we will keep learning from her expertise and knowledge, inshallah, in the future as well. Now, there is one of the speaker, he could not join our conference or summit. So I would like to request Dr. Bilal Hussain to please.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Dear distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and honored participants, I'm very happy to be here, and Alhamdulillah, topic of bioethical challenges and principles of Islamic law in modern context. I am deeply indebted to the Global Center for Legal Thought, the organizers of the first International Summit on Harmonization of Sharia and Law, with the theme Society, Policy, and Progress, for allowing me to address all of you through this online session. I hope the issues that is brought forward here, or those that are brought forward here, will be a catalyst for further discussions among the delegates today, inshallah. Now, with the matter of beneficence, non-beneficence, and just to address all of you today on the topic of bioethical challenges and principles of Islamic law in modern context. I am deeply indebted to the Global Center for Legal Thought, the organizers of the first International Summit on Harmonization of Sharia and Law, with the theme Society, Policy, and Progress, for allowing me to address all of you. I hope the issues that is brought forward here, or those that are brought forward here, will be a catalyst for further discussions among the delegates today, inshallah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue the discussion by looking at the aims of the presentation. First is to highlight the bioethical challenges relating to AIT services in the absence of legislation. The advances in science and technology in the 21st century makes it a necessity for us to navigate around the complexity arising from the repercussions of certain bioethical issues that have resulted in its trail. Reliance can no longer be placed solely on the contemporary bioethical principles of respect for individual autonomy, beneficence, non-beneficence, and justice alone in order to answer these complex ethical issues. Due to its widespread usage and availability, which crosses geographic boundaries, there is a serious need for us Muslims to dig deep into the purpose of our own Islamic tradition with its systematic methods of extracting hukum to provide clear guidance on how these contemporary legal and ethical dilemmas should be addressed. Hence, as I mentioned before, the first aim of this presentation is to highlight the bioethical challenges related to ART services in the absence of legislation, especially in Muslim countries. The 21st century has brought with it unprecedented technological and medical advancements. And although the discussion is wide, from genetic engineering and stem cell research to artificial intelligence and assisted reproductive technologies, the frontiers of science and medicine continually push the boundaries of what is right and what is wrong. The question that must be considered now is no longer, can scientists do this? Instead, the question that needs to be asked and answered now is, should we or the scientists do this? It is true that these rapid advancements in science and technology brings innovations that have potential for improving human health and well-being. Alas, with it comes a host of bioethical challenges. I would like to navigate today's discussion to the bioethical challenges brought about by the advances in infertility treatments through various assistive technologies available in the market. These treatments have ventured now to include not only the use of gametes of the intending parent, but also have been expanded to even using third-party materials such as options for donated gametes and embryos. When assessing the ethics of reproductive technology, the focus of the discussion is usually on the rights of the infertile couple to choose
and distinguished guest participants. So I will talk about family-based care in Malaysia, and basically from the aspect of harmonization. So in child protection, basically we talk about children who have been abused